Someone on yesterday's vlog was saying about in 100 years' time, maybe space travel will have progressed a lot further and we can travel to further distances and more travelling around the universe will happen. You have to remember that 100 years from now isn't that long. 100 years ago, 1912, the Titanic, that was 1912, just before World War One. The world, although it may seem like it's progressed quite a lot in those 100 years, hasn't actually got much further on than it already was. In 1912, there was already buildings and things, and, you know, houses, people had jobs, everything was going fairly well. They were able to build an unsinkable ship that actually sunk. The Industrial Revolution had happened, that's gone on, and, you know, there's a lot of progression had already occurred in the world. So from then to now, the only real difference is electrical differences, you know, TVs and the internet. That's the only real progression that I can see. They already had roads and buildings. Maybe things have just got more modern, but nothing's really changed. So in 100 years from now, what will there be? I don't know. I can't imagine that it will be much different. I was saying that science is like playing hide and seek. Say there's 10 people when you're playing hide and seek. You'll find people quite quickly at the start. You know, you look around, you don't have to look very far. Oh, I found someone within the first minute of the game. And then you find a few people, the same, it only takes like a minute. And then eventually you get down to the last 3 people. It takes a bit longer, doesn't it? It takes, you know, there's 2 or 3 minutes between finding one person and finding the next person. And then you get down to the last person, and you're all looking, and you're like, oh, where are they? I've looked in all the hiding spots, and I can't find them. And then eventually it'll be, you know, 10 minutes later, you finally find them, and then you've found everyone. That's what science is like, I think. When there's a lot to discover, you know, in the early days of science, you know, a couple hundred years ago, there's a lot to find out about the world. They started finding out loads of things over and over again, and just here and there, just hundreds of new pieces of information that we've never heard before. And now, in this day and age, we've already discovered a lot of things, so there's less for us to find out about the world, because we already know so much about it. To find some more out about the world, it's going to take a lot longer, because they're hiding. The last pieces of information, they're scattered around the world, and we're going to have to search very hard to find it. That's my analogy of that because there's less to find, it's going to take longer to find it. And like a needle in the haystack. If you're trying to find 100 needles in a small pile of hay, that's quite easy. But one needle in one haystack, that's a lot more difficult.